Louisiana Beer Reviews 39, Old Milwaukee. Old Milwaukee beer was introduced by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company in 1955, the same year that Busch came out, and it was, of course, an Anheuser-Busch product. And those two beers have been competing ever since on the value-priced beer level. It's 4.6% alcohol, Old Milwaukee is, and you see it pretty much everywhere. It's very common. Here's an old 1977 advertisement for it where you see the Old Milwaukee, the Schlitz malt liquor, and the Schlitz Light, which came out in 1975 and disappeared in 2010, by the way. But the malt liquor, the regular Schlitz, and the new Schlitz Gusto and Old Milwaukee are still around. There's also an Old Milwaukee Light, and there's an Old Milwaukee Ice on the market with 5.9% alcohol, but I've never seen it sold anywhere, and it's quite rare. It's not sold in Louisiana. For a long time, Old Milwaukee was heavily advertised. You might remember the 70s and 80s, the famous, excuse me, "It doesn't get any better than this" commercials, where they had the guys camping and fishing and whatnot. And then in the late 80s, they started to change it up where they had, excuse me, during the commercial, the Swedish bikini team would parachute in, and feminist groups didn't like it, but anyway, most people thought it was cute, and then that faded out. And the last time I saw an Old Milwaukee commercial on national television was in 1997 during the Super Bowl, and it was celebrating the fact that it had won gold at the Great American Beer Festival in '96. And it's done quite well in competition. It won gold medal in '03 and '04 at the Great American Beer Festival in the American Style Lager category. Here's a bottle from 1996, the short neck, which you don't see really anymore. The classic pinstripes. Here's a can, also from '96, with the classic pinstripes. And when it came out in 55, it did have the pinstripes all the way up until '98 when they redid the cans. It says carefully brewed with genuine malted barley, pure water, cereal grains, and selected hops. So it's a very ordinary beer. Here's the '98 can when they tried to spruce it up a little bit, calling it OM. And it's strange because I saw a bunch of cases in Hammond, Louisiana last month, and all the cases were the typical red cases, but one case was the old white OM case, but with the regular beer in it. I thought it was odd. They must have had cases left over from years ago. Very strange. And here is the reformatted Old Milwaukee beer label, which came out in the early 2000s, I guess, maybe mid 2000s, but it doesn't have the pinstripes. They took that off in '98. And it says America's best tasting beer, and that's a trademark. In fact, in many ways it is, because it's won so many awards. Beer Advocate gives it a D+. The Bros give it a C-. I gave it a B. Rate Beer gives it very poor ratings, but The Beer in Me, it has an excellent rating on that website. As always, I'm going to try to be open-minded and not let my past feelings about the beer bias my current rating. So here we go. I'm going to open this very cold pint can. You will see Old Milwaukee in 12-ounce cans and bottles, the 16-ounce cans, 24-ounce cans. You see it in the 40-ounce bottles, 32-ounce bottles, just so common. But it's not sold in the 12-ounce bottles in Louisiana. I had a hard time finding Old Milwaukee in 12-ounce bottles. I bought it in Virginia, in fact, in Chilhowie, Virginia, last year in the bottles. Although they have it in the 32-ounce bottles here, so it's weird. Anyway, you can see it has a very thick white head, which you'd expect from American Style Lager. The very crystal clear straw appearance. You know, it's highly carbonated. The aroma. Hold on a second. I've been suffering with sinuses this whole winter. I'm not enjoying this winter. The cold weather's got me down. But I am able to smell, though. It's not, my nose is not stopped up. It's just a little runny. Okay, a little bit of a cold, I suppose. You can pick up that sweet smell, the clean water, and it's so much, it's so similar to Coors or, Miller High Life or Budweiser or Schlitz or Pabst Blue Ribbon or anything like that. They're so similar. And that's always been my argument about American style lagers. They're all so similar and good, in my opinion. I think they're good. So if that's the case, why wouldn't you just go for the lowest price? Because the difference between them is so relatively small. To me, it doesn't make sense to pay $18.99 for a case of Budweiser when you could sometimes get Schaefer for $11.99 or pay $18.99 for Bud Light when you get Schaefer Light for $11.99, and you basically getting the same type product, almost identical taste. I mean, they have slight taste notes that are different, but their similarities are so much more than their differences. Anyway, it has a good smell. It's what you would expect from an American beer. Now the taste test. You got that well-rounded beer taste. There's nothing distinct as far as any flavors. You got the beer flavor, which is coming from the barley and the barley malt and the grain, which I believe is yellow corn grits, because this is mostly produced by Miller in their breweries. You do have a little hop bitterness at the end, but it's very mild. And overall, it's really an enjoyable beer, and I find it has a light and watery mouthfeel. So it's on the thin side, but it's not bad. It finishes very crisp and clean. It's a very dry beer. It's got a decent amount of lacing down the glass, as you can see. So I really enjoy Old Milwaukee, and you can really taste that sweet aftertaste. It's sort of a delicate beer. It's well done. I've always enjoyed it. I've always recommended it. And I would say give it a chance. One more sip here. Laissez le bon ton roulé. It is a good beer. I'm going to stick with my B rating. It's very good. You know what? I'm going to a B plus with this, and I'm almost tempted to go higher than that. What am I talking about? This is a B plus. This is very good. And a lot of times when I think more about the beers, my ratings go up in many cases. So I can't do anything but praise Old Milwaukee. Okay, so I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans.